Hello everyone, this is Joanna. Thank you so much for coming back. These are going to be your messages for the month of August. I am doing them very differently than I have done them up until this point, so they will resemble more of the mid-July reading, where most of my information will be channeled. I'm not using any traditional tarot cards. I'm using only one card from John Holland's deck and one card for food for thought from Colette Reed's. Everything else is this deck here, which I didn't study, so I just look at pictures and then I hear what I'm to say. Of course, for more long-term projections, there are a lot of videos that I published not that long ago. That information is down below. So there is a 6-month video for each sign on Vimeo from July until the end of the year, and of course there is the Uranus 7-year projection, which has a much longer projection to show you what to expect over the next 7 years. So that information is down below. Of course, these are general readings, so they will not apply to everybody. Listen to your other signs. These may offer you greater picture, and more than anything, thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for subscribing, for private sessions. That information is down below. Thank you so much once again. Please do comment. I love hearing your comments. And without further ado, let's start off with the readings. Hello, beautiful Leos. These are going to be your messages for the month of August 2018. I'll be honest with you, this is the 3rd or 4th time that I am doing your messages. I did it with one other sign. This retrograde is playing a bit of a trick on me, so the camera keeps freezing and the energy is really weird. So let's try again. Hopefully this one works. I have a really interesting feel about this. I have not prepped. I want to go raw with this. But this, for some reason, feels very substantial to me, and I not that any other signs are not. But the energy with these messages feels very substantial. First and foremost, let me start off by saying happy birthday to those of you who have birthdays in August. And if you had your birthday in July, happy birthday to you. You also have people associated to you that have birthdays right about now. Happy birthday to those people. I don't know why I'm saying this, but happy birthday to those people too. For some of you, it is about congratulations. Either you have passed an exam, you have passed a certain life lesson. I feel like you are ready to go on your journey, whatever that may mean to you. The red rose is coming in, and it's a symbol for some of you, and it means something. When I see this rose, it is being given to me for an occasion. So if you I want to say just for an occasion, somehow the red rose, but more importantly, red rose is going to be mean something to you. But I want to. It's like a mark of something big. Let me just go further with this message. We all have been going through transitions. You're no different. So you have been going through some transitions lately, and for some of you, something failed to work. Maybe work failed, or something else failed to work. Maybe your relationship failed. Maybe your plans failed. Maybe something failed. And as a result, you've passed a very important lesson. And the lesson is of courage. So clearly, there is some substantial stuff going on with some of you. This is not going to be for all of you, but it is for, he's saying majority of you. This is going to apply to some aspect of your life. It'll make sense to you or it doesn't. I also see that you are taking chances. You are choosing to unlock certain doors, and you are looking for the right key to open it. Key often to me suggests something learned. You're either learning something new in order to open a brand new opportunity. You're either looking to learn something that will ultimately open certain doors, or you're looking for some sort of information that is going to help you achieve certain success. And is this just happening in August? No, but for some reason, this is what I'm supposed to say, as it's supposed to mean something. And again, you've been overcoming hurdles. Why am I being shown overcoming hurdles? Pyramids are being shown. For some of you, pyramids mean something to you. Maybe it's just a symbolic pyramid, or somehow it connects to ancient Egypt. Sometimes that comes through. So pyramids are being shown. Point is that you will continue to overcome your challenges and obstacles, and we have them every day. So heads up. So it's interesting. Is there anything else? Some of you, someone is assisting you in untying yourself. This could be someone that you hire in order to help you come out of a relationship or of a contract, untie yourself from something. But it seems to me that you're being assisted. You may be untying yourself from previous relationship by emotionally letting go of attachments, and you may be working with a counselor that is assisting you in untying this. And many of you are resolute. You're ready to go. You're ready to go and achieve something. So I hope that's for most of you. Okay, the card that represents your theme is Hope or Star. And you actually have two cards that are called Hope. So clearly this is suggesting that many of you have been going through some struggles lately. A lot of it will be, struggles, mental, physical, spiritual. I want to say mental and emotional, first and foremost. You've been going through some changes. So the month of August is offering you a bit of respite, which is interesting because we have interesting energies in August, and with so many planets going retrograde, apparently that's a big deal. And most of the messages had this mentioned. Month of August is supposed to be a bumping road, but for you, it feels like it offers you an opportunity to take a seat back and relax a little bit. So that's a good thing. I'm also being shown that it's important for you to continue to have faith in the process. Okay, so there it was. It started already. The camera froze on me. Let's take two. Let's move on to the next message. You have the card of Paradox, and I really had a really hard time trying to get information about this card. It just confused me for some reason. But then I asked for more information and you got New Consciousness. So, now I understand. This is so bizarre. Apparently the reason why I had such a difficult extracting information from it is because my logical mind could not prehend the idea of paradox, where seemingly looking at something that defies logic is being presented and it's right there in front of you. So it feels to me like almost a shift of awareness. Now, when I asked for clarification about this card, I did get New Consciousness. So what this is saying to me, that many of you are or have recently had a total shift of awareness about the things in your life or about yourself. This could mean that some of you have had a spiritual awakening, and something that was once completely not possible to you became very evident and very visible. When that happens, the ego has difficulty grasping what's happening, because the human mind is created in order to think in linear terms, and when we think of a paradox, the mind tried to grasp it's either one or the other, and having two conditions exist at the same time that are seemingly contradictory can be extremely difficult for the mind to grasp. So I don't know what this is going to mean for some of you, but it clearly is supposed to mean something, because I was clearly asked to leave this card as is, even though I didn't want to. So again, I hear the word awakening. Many of you have been going through a process of awakening, like we all are, but some of you have had quote unquote a brutal awakening. What does this mean? It means that you were probably faced with some situations that made you look at things very differently now. You were presented with an idea or with a theory or with awareness. Perhaps you had an out-of-body experience and it was not something that was instigated by you, and you became aware of things that the logical mind has absolute difficulty grasping. That absolutely would shatter your ego belief, and you will most definitely have a shift of perception. So that's what I'm hearing. The New Consciousness message is just that. You having had a level of awareness that was different than the one before. And every time we shift in our consciousness, we move on to a new level of awareness, which allows us to approach life in itself very differently. So because of this, the message of long-term goals is coming up. So it sounds like as a result of your awakening, you are now starting to question things about your life now and how they fit into your long-term goals. So for some of you, this is about starting planning, or not starting planning, starting to plan, correctly speaking. So it's not so much about starting to plan, but it's about choosing, with your new awareness, choosing to do things differently going forward. And when we have a shift of perception, our idea of things, how things were, drastically, or sometimes not drastically, changes. Because of that, we become aware that we now have new choices available to us that we previously didn't have. So as a process of your awakening, you may have learned something about yourself that now seems to feel very important. You learned, for example, that you are someone who can channel, or you learned that you can actually sit down and play piano, and although you kind of sort of had interest in it, you never really pursued it up until now. All of a sudden you become aware that you love animals, and for whatever reason something happened and you are now connected to animals. I mean, it could literally mean a gazillion things. Point is that you are choosing to take different steps pertaining to your future planning or future goals. For some of you, it is about embracing the fact that you have been a certain way for a reason. With the struggles, with the disappointments, with the failures and all, there is a reason, bigger reason behind all that. And perhaps that has been your shift of consciousness. Perhaps you are able to see the paradox of it all, where you saw behind the scenes of the reason why things happened the way they did and why your life was the way it was. And I'm not suggesting that you had anything terrible happen, but like every single human being, you've gone through difficulties and challenges, and mostly those don't feel great. As a matter of fact, some of them really suck. So this is about changing your future and changing it for the better, with the idea of you that is somehow different than the one before. Awakening is what I get. So some of you perhaps were on a shamanic healing journey. Some of you were on a healing journey. Some of you, I can't believe I'm saying this. Actually, I can. Some of you have participated in ayahuasca ceremony. Some of you maybe have taken other psychedelics or something that has, quote unquote, tempered in your mind in such a way that allowed you to temporarily. So it looks like around mark 5 minutes it cuts off. Okay, I'm just going to keep on going. So this is take 3. So that's level. So yeah, perhaps you had a ceremony, ayahuasca ceremony, or some other healing, ancient healing ceremony, where you became temporarily aware of yourself in a completely different way and completely different light. This, in fact, has allowed you to have renewed hope, because it allowed you to see things that were previously not accessible to you, not in that time. I'm also being asked to say that resisting the flow proves to be futile. Why do I want to say this? When you resist who you are, you essentially become stuck. Most of us, human beings, live in a denial. We live in a denial that is based on our ego's understanding of life. And whatever our ego's perception is of life, that's what we stick to. That's what we adhere to. But the problem with that is that there is this other level of awareness that we have no access to on a regular basis. And although we may not tap into it all the time, when we do tap into it, it shifts our perception of life, and therefore allows ego to function and see things in different ways. And this sentence is kind of coming, that's being channeled, but hopefully it's going to make some sense to you. So something that previously may have made no sense to you now becomes a source of inspiration and a source of hope. An example being given here for those of you who somehow had an experience where your filters were removed and you saw a different level of awareness. You may have seen how your mother or how your father mother treated you, some perhaps severely, how from the new way of perception you saw the gift or the beauty of what their contribution in your life has marked on your soul. And once you have awareness of something like this, I'll tell you from personal story, you can never go back. It is a gift that keeps on giving over and over and over. So I feel that's why I had this feeling of a different energy with you. Just your perception seems to be changing, and it seems to be changing quite drastically. Now, what is the card that symbolizes food for thought? It's very interesting because you have the card Y in protection position. So in this position, it's all about wanting to know the whys, wanting to know the truth, wanting to know the deeper answers, wanting to seek deeper that is just in front of us. And because it's in a protection position, I want to say this: don't deny yourself the truth of knowing. Why would anybody deny the truth? Because then you need to become responsible for your choices and your actions. So if you have been holding on to the past, particularly, let's use the example of anger or resentment to someone, and by choosing to hold on to it, you disregard the importance of the lesson that it served for you as a human being, but also prevents you from moving on without that painful attachment, so that you can only go so far. In other words, you'll keep on repeating scenarios that will keep reminding you of that particular feeling. So this is the typical letting go of the past. And I think I spoke to someone about that. Maybe it was you. I don't remember, with all the videos counting off. But that's important. So do not deny yourself the truth of knowing who you are. Some of you are experiencing some things and you keep saying to yourself, I can't believe it, I can't believe it, I can't believe it. And this may actually be something really good when things are happening in front of you and it's like these doors are opening and you're just at awe. And I keep hearing, believe that you can, believe that you can. So if you are starting something new and doors just keep opening to you, it's a loud message and a big sign that you are meant to move forward with this. And perhaps these opportunities are coming out of nowhere and you're thinking, how could this be? How could this be? But the fact is that at some point in your life, you have planted a seed that is now producing these incredible results. So when you ask the question why, ask yourself this: how am I contributing to all of this? What part of me is responsible for bringing that forward? There's something very important about this particular message, and it's recognition of your own involvement in your own process of creation. When we recognize how we attract certain things and how we are able to make things happen, it allows us to be a better cooks. Can I say it that way? Because the better cook you are, the better chef you are, the better food you make, the better, and it's much more pleasant. I don't know why I went with this metaphor, but so it is. These are the energies. Let me just see if there's any other thing that I want to say to you. Some of you may be feeling with a fear of abandonment. And because of this, your level of trust in the physical world can be not as great. So you may not trust people. You may not trust that people have their best interest in you. You may not trust that life is meant to be good to you. You can have trust issues, gazillion of them. I mean, there could be any. But point is, for those of you who do have difficulties with trust, it is stemming from feeling of abandonment, whether it was emotional abandonment, where your emotional needs were not being met and you felt you were abandoned. That may also make you feel like you're not important. And your life circumstances will always reflect that. But I want to say this: going back to the point of the shift of awareness, perhaps some of you over the last several months or in the month of August will be able to clearly see just how the situation of abandonment is serving you now as a human being. So that's an observation that you want to make if that's in fact is your case. So then what do you do about it? Recognition. As the moment you have recognition of something important that has been bothering you in a way that allows you to see things from a different, more positive perspective, is the day you let go of the old subconscious blocks and beliefs you've had about yourself pertaining to that situation. So to reflect back what I said, if you have been emotionally abandoned, you may have felt not very good most of your life. When you understand that that was important for you in order to realize some goals about you, to help you strengthen yourself to the point where you allow yourself to be vulnerable and teach others about self-empowerment, then you see how that was actually a gift that now allows you to create exactly what you want. And I think this is take number 4 or 5. You guys are going to hate this, and so do I. So my apologies. It's got to go with the flow. So let me just wrap it up. Month of August is a month of reprieve. It's a time of sitting back if you can and taking a breather. You've been going through a lot. You've had a lot of emotional ups and downs. And month of August, give yourself the luxury of relaxation, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 days or 15 days, whatever that is. In other words, give to yourself, learn how to give to yourself. And when they're asking me to talk about creation happens in several ways. Part of the creation the universe is responsible for, God, Buddha, whatever you want to call it. Part of the process is we are responsible for that creation. And in the month of August, I feel like you've been shifting, you've been changing your perception. Now allow yourself to relax and let the universe provide to you. So this is the idea of when the tide is not high, fishermen will not go out fishing because it may damage their boats. The water is not high enough. So it's time for you to relax, take a back seat and just observe. And if that's the worst that can happen in the month of August, then you guys are the luckiest sign based on all the other messages that I've given. But at the end of the day, it is your birthday, so you deserve it. So happy birthday to you once again. I hope this was helpful. Listen to it at the end of the month. Interesting energies, let me tell you. Yes, do take care of yourself. Listen to it at the end of the month. It'll probably make much more sense to you. I wish you best of luck. Of course, for private sessions, that information is down below. Thank you so much once again, and see you soon. Bye.